by Incognito.
Okay, casually explained. Casually explained, what are we talking about? We are talking about billionaires. Casually explained billionaires. You know what I'm saying? Shout out. Might be a little bit of like education, you feel me? Let's see what you're talking about, my boy.
This video is brought to you by Incognito.
Nobody cares.
Now, the difference between an average person and a billionaire is essentially zero. Unfortunately, about 9 of them. Nevertheless, if you're a regular person, you walk around the same streets as both the riff, the RAF, and professionals all the same. You probably know people who still live at home, friends slumming it with roommates, couples sharing a 2-bedroom, and high earners with a single family home, a dog, 2 kids, and the white picket fence, giving you a decent perspective of life for the average person. But when you're so rich that money basically doesn't matter, everything changes completely. One unavoidable characteristic of becoming a billionaire is that you end up in such an isolated social circle that you often cease to relate to the common person and your life becomes unrecognizable. For this reason, billionaires actually have more in common with the homeless than they do with most people. Doesn't pay taxes, undiagnosed mental illness.
So I feel like it might be like the same person but on different ends of the spectrum, because the only difference between you and the homeless person is the fact is just how people treat you. But the alienation is still the same. The isolation is still the same. Like, you're literally so different from society. The one nigga is just that he's homeless and obviously, you know what I'm saying? All of that, etc. And this other nigga is just because nobody can relate. Nobody else is a billionaire. Billionaires are scarce. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, if you're a billionaire, you're like, shit, nigga, we talking about top 1% in the whole entire world type shit, you know what I'm saying, of earners financially. So obviously, the only difference is just like people's disposition towards you in terms of their attitude and their energy. You feel what I'm saying? When they approach you or when you approach, you know what I'm saying? It's just like how the mental isolation, and you can see it's okay. Me, they show me more love because of like my billions and things like this, but still, Joe, this shit is not, you know what I'm saying? It's not really because of who I am type shit. Not
on the
because
kind
of
of
my
drugs
humanity.
You don't even know how to get and never even heard of the Epstein files. Now, it's natural to look at your life where you work 40 hours a week for just enough to scrape by and think, how does someone even get to be a billionaire in the first place? It's really pretty simple. At some point or another, we've all had the genius thought, what if 1 million people just gave me $1? It would barely inconvenience them, but then I would have $1 million. While most of us stop at this fantasy, impressed by our own raw ingenuity, some people throughout history have gone further, extrapolated on this scheme, and invented what is known today as a business. As an example, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph thought, what if you give me $16 every month and I mail you Shrek 2 on DVD? Easy $6.5 billion. Elon Musk said, what if you give me $8,000 and I pretend to give you a self-driving car every year for the next decade? Richest man on earth. Mark Zuckerberg said, what if I give you an app that collects all of your personal information in a giant database that I own, and you give me a heat lamp and a bowl of grasshoppers? To really drive home how much wealth billionaires have, when someone says they're a billionaire, they're one of only 800 people in the United States. In contrast, if someone says they're a millionaire, it means they have a house. While politically it's commonplace for progressives to hate billionaires because they epitomize late-stage capitalism, I don't make fun of billionaires because I have an ideological bone to pick. I make fun of them because they're really fucking weird. Recently, Peter Thiel, a tech billionaire and right-wing ideas guy, appeared on a podcast and was asked if he thought the human race should survive. He then stammered over the question for 15 seconds before reluctantly answering with the classic, yes, but. Now, I'm no expert in media training, but as I frequently tell Putin, Hamas, and Benjamin Netanyahu on our weekly Zoom meetings, the correct answer to human rights questions is always to say yes right away.
I thought you said if the human race should keep existing.
And only reveal later that you had your fingers crossed out of frame. Billionaires like Thiel are almost alarmingly out of touch with how to communicate with the general public, because even though he can understand a regular person's life conceptually, he can't relate to them on a personal level. For example, I get really hot at night when I go to bed.
That's what I'm saying. You can't even relate to the general public, you know what I'm saying? On some shit. Like, you're really super like different. Just like out of here. Like out there. Like, I don't even know how to put it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I feel like even a homeless person has the same effect type shit.
bed, so I like to turn the temperature way down. Whereas Teal prefers to sleep in a deep freezer, he lays down like a sarcophagus. Now, the good news is that not all billionaires base their whole personality on World of Warcraft expansions and name their company after the magic rock Sauron used to corrupt weak minds and manipulate their will. Warren Buffett, for example, has not only pledged all of his wealth to charity after he dies, but he also still lives a very humble life in his house in Omaha that he bought in 1958 using the change he picked up off the ground.
What?
Nevertheless, most billionaires don't do much to shake off the public image that their whole existence is just about lording over their minimum wage warehouse workers as they Zillow the next 2,000 hectares of farmland to buy, sip their cognac, and mutter to their Siamese cat what pleasure it brings them to see the peasants toiling for their coin. But this isn't how billionaires run companies, this is how Mr. Beast comes up with video ideas. The ethical question of should there be billionaires at all is one of the most hot-button issues around right now because wealth inequality has been steadily increasing decade over decade, and many people believe that billionaires don't pay their fair share. This is of course ridiculous, as billionaires get divorced all the time. With that said, it is a common belief that if the government were to confiscate everyone's personal wealth above $999 million, this would lead to a dramatic improvement in the standard of living for the average person. Problem is, even if you were to yoink every stock, bond, and square inch of real estate a billionaire owns, liquidate all of it to straight cash while somehow getting market value, in the US you would get about $6.22 trillion, which would cover 11 months of government spending, or every person in the country would get a one-time payment of around $18,000. While this is nothing to scoff at, if you're one of the people who says we should eat the rich, it's important to consider that the average inheritance in the US is $46,000, meaning you would make more money if you ate just one of your parents.
For real?
Now, because they can't yet buy more of it, billionaires are experts at managing their time. While flying private is out of reach for most of us, there are other tips you can copy from billionaires to save time in your own life. For example, when I make a new account on a website, I save time by letting Chrome auto-generate an encrypted password. I got this idea from Elon Musk, who uses the same technique to name his children. When you basically reach level 99 in capitalism, you might ask yourself, what do I do now? Not to worry, once you've reached the level cap, there's still plenty of side quests for you to do. While most regular people spend their time playing video games...
Oh my god, and I feel like you do need a mind. I don't know if it's a mind or a heart or a body or... just a combination of all these things working together that can handle having all the money in the world and still being able to be human. Really, you know what I'm saying? Like, still having to have like something that can give you decent purpose. You feel what I'm saying? Because, you know what I mean? The trial heard all around the world. I don't want to name, you know, the DIDDY-COMBS type of character where it's like, yo, you're so much of a billionaire, you're so moneyed up that damn, bro, like, fuck, I did like the highest of things, you know what I'm saying? Whereas I don't have to try all these little low things like the high achievements that I've achieved, because these, even like narcissists, bro, I feel like this is what they tell themselves. Nah, bro, like my achievements can cover what you have ever achieved or your whole lineage has ever achieved in its entire being, you know, lifetime type shit, you know what I mean? So now, you know what I mean, I'm just like enjoying the fruits of my labor. I'm so much of a billionaire, there's literally nothing else to do, you feel what I'm saying? So we'll go and get involved in some things like FREAKOFFS. You know what I'm saying? Because what else can we do? Fuck. Let me just eat all the punani that I can, bro. You feel me? Do all the drugs that I can, bro. You feel me? I mean, the money already gives me access to all these things. So it's like, you really do need a mind where it's like, you can still be the human being that you're supposed to be without, you know, letting the billions get to your head, without letting the fact that, bro, I don't need to sweat nothing in this life for any form of like money. You know what I'm saying?
Doing arts and crafts or playing a sport, billionaires can choose more exotic things like getting bullied on Twitter, criticizing the Chinese government exactly one time, paying pro athletes to make you feel talented, leaving the planet in search of any novelty that will make the emptiness go away, paying to boost your Path of Exile account, then streaming it to prove to anyone who doubted your multidisciplinary genius that they were in fact correct, exploring the bottom of the ocean to uncover its lost secrets, and of course exploring the bottom of the ocean and then dying instantly.
What?
In reality, when you're worth even hundreds of millions of dollars, an ultimately rookie amount, you can pretty much have anything you want. Penthouses, luxury cars, private chef, private plane, giant house, and another giant house in a poor country that kinda sucks but has good weather, and you're not sure if purchasing power parity means the gardeners are getting paid well by their standards, or if you just own slaves. With this in mind, if you are a billionaire, it's actually pretty hard to think of a way to flex on multimillionaires, meaning the 23-year-olds on Raya who look like they're 35 aren't going to message you back. That is, of course, until you remember what separates the centimillionaires from the billionaires. Big boat. Ask a girl if she'd rather be stuck in the middle of a forest with a random bear or a random man, and she picks the bear every time. Ask a girl if she'd rather be stuck in the middle of the ocean with a random shark or stuck in the middle of the ocean with a random Saudi man, and she picks Muhammad every time. This is because men in the forest are broke, meaning they'll try to touch your boob, whereas men on yachts are rich, meaning they have grown weary of material desires and flew.
They're broke, so they'll try and touch your boob. Or they starving for that. You know what I'm saying? That's why even money gives you the access to, you know what I'm saying, a woman's body, like in that sense. You feel what I'm saying? No offense, respectfully. I don't know if you know what I mean, but I'm cooking, bro. You know what I mean, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, even to get there, you need that Skrilla. You feel that cheese, that shmoney, that mignon. Feel me? So obviously when you broke, nigga, you don't be getting none of this shit. You be starving. So first moment you get, you know what I'm saying? That's all you want to do is just touch the booty. You know what I'm saying? Just touch the booty.
Flew you out business class here.
Oh yeah, I seen you on Instagram. Oh, I see the poses. Can I just touch a little bit of that nipple? What?
While no one has tried to sex traffic me yet, the closest I've been able to get so far was when I was on a holiday in France several years ago and made a day trip to Monaco. Now, for people not in the know, Monaco is a tiny sovereign nation basically inside France, and is like a Vatican City tax haven for the ultra-wealthy. They have a little garden you can look at.
Monaco? That's it?
At near the Monte Carlo casino, which was the only thing I could afford.
Monaco.
And as you walk through, you're like, oh, look, a little building. Hopefully this one's a bathroom. Nope, just another Audemars Piguet watch kiosk. Then you pee on it anyway because you're in Europe. Other than this neat oceanographic museum, what I thought was the coolest part of Monaco was the port, which was
AP made in... No, it's not made in Monaco. I don't think if it's made in Monaco, they'd like brand it like this in Monaco.
Divided into sections based on how important people in Monaco thought you were. In the very inner part of the harbor, you have the literal wage slave section, which is basically all the yachts that I would see back home. Then there's Worthless, which had the biggest yachts I have ever seen in real life prior to this. After that, you have Starter Yacht, which are like floating New York City penthouses. Then the last section in the harbor is, finally, a real yacht, which is one giant pier for the 2 or 3 mega yachts that rule the Monaco postcard photo and cost at least $100 million each. Obviously, you don't stop there because these things are a dime a dozen. So then you go out in the ocean and you get, what is this, a harbor for ants? Now you might be thinking what I was thinking at the time, which was, even if you were a billionaire, why on earth would you want a mega yacht so big you can't even park it in the harbor? Exactly, to store your other yachts in, Brokey, get with the program. At this point, I too was wondering how I could acquire a Russian nesting yacht until I was like, speaking of, what's that? And maybe a few kilometers farther out from the shore was this thing, which is the world's largest sailing yacht, and in the top 5 most expensive yachts ever built. It's owned by Andrei Melnichenko and designed by the guy who made this cool lemon squeezer that my mom just bought. Even though I had forgotten the oligarch-class yacht existed, this guy claims he doesn't even have ties to the Russian state, making him just a regular, unimportant billionaire. This argument, of course, didn't work on the Italian government after Russia invaded Ukraine, because they saw the yacht parked outside their shoreline and said, yoink? Which brings us to the true top of the hierarchy, which isn't who owns the biggest yacht, it's who owns the biggest ocean. And you know what that means.
What?
That's right.
People own oceans?
Baby, the taxpayer wins again. Checkmate, billionaires. Me and the boys have once again risen to the top. Now, if you're looking to... oops, wrong slide. If you're looking to avoid calls from the IRS or other scammers that manage to get your email or phone number from Zuckerberg's databank, you should try today's sponsor, Incogni. Incogni is a service that contacts data brokers on your behalf to request the removal of your information from their products and services. This means it won't be able to be purchased or acquired by potential scammers, spammers, or crazy exes, even though you wish they would sometimes. This is something data brokers have to comply with, they just don't really want to, so to do it yourself manually would take dozens or hundreds of hours. All you have to do is sign up for an incognito account, and right away it'll get to work. Well,